What I really would like to see done, though, is you to be in a position now where you can come back to Medicaid and you can and Medicare and these people that are making these tyrannical mandates and say, look, we can't do it. It's against the law. It's against the law in our county.
Well, it could be or will be in about 30 days. That's Adams County Prosecuting Attorney Christopher Boyd speaking to the CFO of the Adams County Health Clinic last month. They were talking about an ordinance that they tell us has been in the works for a while now. That ordinance that would make following a federal vaccine mandate illegal passed through Adams County commissioners unanimously yesterday. The first county to do so, apparently. Apparently Bonner County is working on one, but it hasn't quite passed their county commissioners. They did it, Adams County did, we're told, because, well, Idaho's legislature and governor wouldn't. I mean, technically, the entire state was under a similar such order for about 30 minutes, thanks to Lieutenant Governor Janice McGeehan, while Governor Little was out of state. But that executive order was quickly reversed and only applied to state agencies and schools. However, this Adams County ordinance is in response to President Joe Biden's mandate that applies to all businesses with 100 or more employees. The OSHA requirement, as it's being called by many, over the weekend was put under a court-ordered pause pending a review of the mandate's possible statutory and constitutional issues. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, well, they issued their own mandate last week about the same time. It made it an emergency regulation that any healthcare facilities participating in Medicaid and Medicare programs will require all eligible staff to be vaccinated against COVID-19 by January 4th. And that would apply to the Adams County Health Center, which happens to be the county's largest employer. During that county commissioner meeting last month, Mary Ann Domick, the CFO, said this: if the health center does not comply, we could lose our Medicare and Medicaid status, which would mean that we could provide services, but we wouldn't get paid for them. That would cause the clinic to have to close 70%. Would have to close, I should say. 70% of the dollars that do come in, she went on, dollars from insurance companies, Medicare and Medicaid, and self-pay. She said 70% of that income is provided by Medicare and Medicaid. We couldn't continue operations if we didn't have those dollars, she said. So they didn't seem to have a choice in the matter. But the county prosecutor believes they should have a choice, thus the ordinance. So we wanted to know why Adams County, with just about 4,000 people, thought they would potentially stand up to the federal government.
Well, we're a tiny county, but we are a freedom-loving county. We care about our people here. And it's a very real, very personal struggle. You got to understand, we know these people. Our commissioners know these people that are being thrown out of work, and they're going to lose everything. They stand to lose their jobs, not just their jobs, their houses, their retirement. They're losing everything. And it's a political persecution that is horrendous to watch. For us anyway, it's not about whether or not the vaccines are good or bad. It's about whose decision is it? Is it ultimately the decision of corporations? Is it the decision of Joe Biden? Is it the decisions of governments, the Republicans, the Democrats? It's not their decision.
Why not just let this run through the courts before passing a mandate of your own in Adams County?
The answer simply is that we started way before the OSHA mandate, and this was something that we could see on the horizon at the beginning of this year and have been working on since. I think when someone is pushing to take away people's jobs, they can't wait.
You mentioned all of these people getting laid off or the potential to be laid off. The OSHA mandate applies to businesses with more than 100 employees. How many would that actually apply to in Adams County?
Well, more than one. So we're a small county, but it does actually apply. And the bigger problem for us anyway, personally here, is our biggest employer is the clinic here, the health clinic. The health clinic is governed by the CMS mandate, right? So the CMS rule came out at the same time as the OSHA rule. And so while we're really grateful that finally Governor Little and Lawrence Wasden is joining in with the lawsuit against the OSHA rule, they're doing nothing about the CMS rule, nothing at all. So everyone in the medical field who accepts Medicaid or Medicare, those people, they're being forced to either agree with this mandate or to lose their jobs.
Do you know how many that would be in Adams County you say could lose their job if this mandate goes through?
Well, at least 15 that I've talked to. We're a very small county. At least 15 that have contacted me in the past couple of weeks. I'm sure if the OSHA thing went through, we're talking about a lot more.
The last meeting you guys held on this, other than yesterday, you kind of said some. You kind of went out and evoked World War II and the Nazis and the Jews, saying,
Listen, when they came for the Jews, the German people did not stand up. when they came for the Jews, they took their livelihoods first. They didn't just line them up and shoot them first. They took their livelihoods. On November 8th of 1938, the night of the broken glass, those people were rounded up, their businesses were destroyed, and they were thrown out of work. We can't allow this to happen.
Do you really think that this is the same thing? It's on the same level field?
Well, let's think about that for a second. What are the differences? What are the differences? There aren't that many. So you have someone you disagree with that you're going to say, you know what? This person shouldn't be allowed to work. This person shouldn't be allowed to come in here to this business. This person shouldn't be allowed to do X, Y, or Z. We're at the beginning stages, okay? But you're taking people who you disagree with politically. And yeah, that does tend to fall along political lines. I'm sure you'd agree. You're taking people that you disagree with and you're skewering them on their rights. And that's fundamentally the problem, right? It's about taking those individual rights. And that is what they did to the Jews. That's absolutely what they did to the Jews. They took away their individual rights. It evokes a whole lot of different things. And maybe we're just done here. Maybe you're not going to see a Holocaust, maybe not. But it certainly is the same kind of power. It's the same kind of play. And it's terrifying. It should be terrifying to all of us.
Should the court say this is something that the federal government is allowed to do? How does an ordinance in Adams County stand up to a federal mandate? I mean, the supremacy clause, right?
Well, I think that's a simplification of the supremacy clause, but I do think that we would have to fight it in court.
So you think this ordinance would stand up against a federal mandate on vaccines?
I hope it will, but I'm willing to fight it. And I'd rather fight it and lose than not fight it at all. And I sure hope we could fight it and win. I think that we actually have pretty good arguments. And those will be forthcoming, I suppose, if we end up in court, which is quite likely.
Maybe you won't see another Holocaust. Just to be clear, this is not even close to what happened to the Jewish people during World War II and the Holocaust. Not even close. The ordinance, by the way, which is a ordinance prohibiting discrimination based on a person's vaccination status, that should go into effect, or is supposed to go into effect 30 days from yesterday, carries with it a misdemeanor charge, a possible punishment of $2,000, and maybe even some prison time of about a year. Governor Little did join a lawsuit, as you heard Mr. Boyd say, to put a stop to the OSHA mandate, the one that could impact 84 million American workers, requiring businesses with more than 100 employees to get vaccinated or get tested or get another job. Now, those parameters would apply to other Adams County businesses like chain grocery and convenience stores, but also Brundage Mountain Resort, who during the winter and summer has more than 100 employees. Now, we asked Brundage Mountain about this afternoon. They tell us they are monitoring developments on this issue, and currently they say that Brundage Mountain encourages employees to get vaccinated, is encouraging staff to wear face coverings while inside buildings and facilities, and they plan to do daily health checks for staff once ski season is underway.